I'm making a gauge to check the size of the tenons after I cut them. And it's a real simple gauge. So that's what we're doing right now. This ruler is 1 inch wide. The tenons are 1 inch. So all you do is cut a notch in the piece of plywood. If y'all were wondering if it looks like I'm working in my kitchen, you're right. It's pouring down rain today. Can't do nothing outside, so I turned my kitchen into a wood shop. It's gonna be nice when I get a corner chisel. That'd be nice right about now. That's pretty darn square. I like that. And y'all get a more idea how I'm gonna use this. Once I start using it, you'll see exactly. Now, we'll cut it off. And there's our gauge for our tenons. Alright, first thing we did was the gauge for the tenons. Now we're going to make a gauge for the mortise. I'm going to rip this piece of wood 1 inch. I'm going to drill a hole in this and square it off to put this piece down in this piece, and drill a hole in the side to put a screw so we can measure and lock it off with a screw. Let's check our dimensions now. See, we right at 1 inch now exactly. Alright, y'all see how this is going to work? I've got it marked 1, 2, 3, 4, and even numbers. That's how deep the mortises are. And if it's 1 inch wide this way, looking at the numbers. This way it's not 1 inch wide, so don't use the side. Always you let the screw face to you. When you drill a hole for the screw, make sure you do it cross grain and not end grain. If you do it end grain, it's going to split. So stay away from the end grain, go across the grain, drill your hole, make sure you drill your hole. And then once you get this thing set to how deep your mortises are, say we got a 3 inch mortise, you bring it right to the line right there, and you can take your screw and just put it in just enough where it hits that board. And now it's not going to move. But that's our mortise gauge. Alright y'all, I'm doing a voiceover on this one because the dishwasher was running. Remember, I'm doing all this in the kitchen. I'm making a jig to sharpen the chisels. And basically all you need is 2 pieces of plywood, which that's what I'm marking now. 3/4 plywood works good. And you basically take your 2 pieces of plywood and just put them up on 90 degrees. And basically just screw them together. I use a bunch of screws because you want it to be tight. I think I ended up using 5 screws. And then you got your half a box. And you want to get your sharpening stone on there and get your chisel and get the bevel towards the sharpening stone and lay it on that sharpening stone and get the angle. You want to get the same angle as the bevel and make you a mark on the end of the wood right there. Right there at the bottom side of the handle, because what we're going to do, we're going to drill a hole, get you square, make you a line, and that line is going to be the bottom of the handle where it rests in that plywood. And a hole saw would probably be better, but all I had was a paddle bit. And you want to mark, like I said, mark the bottom side of that hole. Yeah, I drilled one and it was wrong, so I'm having to basically redo it. I got the bevel wrong, so I'm making me another line. And we're going to try this again. I got my paddle bit lined up with the bottom side of the hole. And see if the second time works better. One thing when you're drilling with a paddle bit, make sure you drill the other side before you actually go all the way through so you don't have any tear out. And then the back side of it, I had to chisel out the top edge to get the chisel to lay down right. But that didn't take but a minute. Chisel out the top edge. And then when you put your edge, the bottom edge of that handle in the hole, you shouldn't see any light in between the chisel and the sharpening stone. And I think I got it this time. Get you a little closer up view. See the bevel? The bevel on that chisel is flat on the stone. And then to sharpen this chisel, all you gotta do is just run it back and forth. Of course, you wanna weten your stone or put some oil on it. But all you do is slide that chisel back and forth. You don't have to put no pressure, hard pressure on it anyway to shine it up.